listeners. Welcome to Plano's Political Pitbull Podcast. I am Esther.
And I'm Ruth.
And today we have for you some Plano news, some Texas news. But before we get started with all of that, our show today is sponsored by Southwest Pain Management. Southwest Pain Management takes care of most chronic pain without pain pills. Their goal is to get you back to doing the things you love. They are also the world's leading long COVID experts. Dr. Groisman sees people from all over the world to treat their long COVID. Southwest Pain Management is in Plano. Please go to their website, reliefbeginshere.com, to see all that they do. First up is Plano. We have another economic development giveaway that passed at the City Council on June the 23rd, 2025.
Boo.
In the consent agenda, of course, because we have to hide it where people can easily miss it. This one, though, I must say, is a little bit different than the ones we've seen from City Council in the past. Because this one is going to the owners of a strip mall shopping center in Plano. It is the Parka Plaza West. And it was built in 1974. And the exterior has not been updated since 1974.
Wow.
And it looks it. The center is currently 80% leased. Now, I don't know. I think that's pretty good, but I guess they must think that's pretty bad. And the only thing I could find on the company who owns the shopping center is that they are a local landlord, and they own other properties throughout the DFW area that they lease out. When you're dealing with these smaller companies, a lot of them have multiple LPs, and it's very difficult to find anything about them. The great thing about the publicly traded companies, when we give those people money, is I can find out a lot of information about them because it's public record and public knowledge. These little companies that are private, can't find out much about them, unfortunately. So let us get to the agreement. This is for 101,797 square feet of retail shopping located at 2109 and 2129 West Parker Road in Plano. This is at the corner of Parker and Custer. It has the Parker Animal and Bird Clinic in the center, also Olive Burger. So maybe if that will clue you guys who are listening and you live in Plano, you may know where this is.
Did you mean Bird Clinic?
Yeah, bird.
Okay, just checking.
Olive Burger.
Okay, just checking.
Mm-hmm.
You said blurred.
I said blurred. Okay. I'm sorry. So, the company agrees to revitalize the shopping center by constructing or causing to be constructed property improvements that have a minimum construction cost of $3,694,524. And the improvements listed are to the outside. So they are going to be facade improvements that have a minimum of the costs I just said. And they also agree, this seems odd to me, use reasonable effort to use the words Plano, Texas when referencing the address for the company and its tenants, or printed on electronic materials. I should say on printed or electronic materials. I would think that's kind of a duh. Like, it's a shopping center. Why in the world would you not give the address of the shopping center, which would have Plano, Texas in it? That seems odd to me, that they would actually put that in the agreement. The city agrees to give a cash grant of $300,000 for the facade improvements. It will be divided as follows: $295,000 to offset the facade improvement costs, and then $5,000 for reimbursement of city fees, including but not limited to permit, building inspections, engineering, and planning fees paid in relation to the construction and occupancy of the real property. So I'm conflicted about this. You know, we've talked about economic development here. We don't like it here because it's not capitalism. It interferes with the free market. This one, I can almost be okay with. Okay, maybe too much of a word. I can maybe live with this because of the following. Number one, the business is currently here in Plano. Number two, we are keeping the space that they are in. Okay? It's not that we're picking up and they're moving. All right? The other thing is that the tenants that are currently there, this could help them. And these tenants are small businesses. As I said, we have a veterinary clinic there. It's one of the only exotic vets in Plano. So they do birds, mice, rats, anything.
That's not a cat or dog.
That's not a cat or a dog, exactly. But I do believe they do cats and dogs too.
Yes.
But they are a specialty vet. This will help that business. We have the restaurant I mentioned. There's other restaurants in there, other kinds of stores in there. So it will help those stores because when something looks pretty, it's more attractive to people. They're more likely to go to it.
Yeah, and we have said in the past, if they're going to do economic development like this, they might as well spend it on local small businesses.
Yes. Not that I'm quite sure the owner is a small business person, but definitely it's a Plano business. He's got multiple properties throughout DFW. But the people who will be mostly affected by this are going to be those small business people.
Right.
Like I said, I can live with it. Right? I still don't like it, but I can live with it. At this point, I'll take whatever crumbs they can give us because I'm still a free market person, and this interferes with the free market because you're giving something to this person, but you're not giving something to the guy across the street or down the street or down the road or across in East Plano. You're not going to be able to give every business in Plano money. Now, if they really wanted to help a small business person, they could cut their taxes.
No.
That would be helpful.
But then the city wouldn't get their money.
Yes, but then they wouldn't have to give money either. Kind of balances it out. I do have to point out something else I noticed. This is the first time when I looked at an agreement, it didn't mention how much money is going to remain in the economic development account. Or fund. I noticed that. It's like, where's the new balance? It wasn't there. So I'm a little like, what's going on? Why didn't you tell us how much money you currently have after this $300,000 goes to this businessman? I hope that after the businessman, he updates everything, he doesn't raise the rents. Because, if they're going to raise his property values and his property taxes are going to go up, he's going to have to raise the rent on those small businesses.
And then this is going to be all for nothing.
So, yeah. So I hope that is something that they're not going to do. See, I'd rather he updated himself and then they not raise his property values or his taxes on his property value because his property is now worth more.
Nah, government doesn't know how to do that.
Probably not.
All they know how to do is spend.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of spending, very good timing on that one.
Oh.
Also, during the same council meeting, the city council approved the purchase of Armstrong Middle School. What they are going to do with it, they didn't say. Nobody said anything.
Maybe they don't know yet.
Nobody asked, why in the world would you spend $8 million to buy a middle school and not know what you're going to do with it?
I don't know. They do it all the time. They buy a property and then it sits there empty, or like they demolish something and it sits there and the lot sits there empty for how many years?
Yeah, they did do that, don't they? They've actually done that in the past. Well, I don't quite know what they're going to do with it because the area around the school is zoned single family. And there's all single family houses around that school. It's literally, it looks, when it gets torn, if it gets torn down, and please don't tear it down, it'll be like a donut. Houses all around it, empty lot in the middle.
Yeah, there's a lot of schools like that where it's a school literally center in the middle of a residential area.
Yeah. So I don't know what else they have in mind for this other than houses. But that wouldn't make sense either, because if you want more families, if you want to build more houses, single family houses, so families can move to Plano.
Why'd you demolish the school?
Yeah, these kids are going to have to go to school somewhere.
Maybe there's another school in the area.
Another middle school? I don't know. How many middle schools do we have currently? Well, we have minus one.
I don't know that answer.
And I don't know where all of the kids are going to be going. So the next thing they talked about at the meeting is the arts plan. They wanted to give direction and guidance. And oh boy, did Councilman Lavine, I hate saying that, I have to tell you. Councilman Lavine had a long list of things he wanted. Oh, a long list. A 4-page list.
I think I heard about this.
Typed out and he gave a copy to all the council members beforehand, which I must say, that was a nice touch.
Came prepared.
He came prepared. I wonder if it was single or double spaced.
That's a very good question.
Mm-hmm. So, here's some of the things he wants. Okay?
Only some? You couldn't list them all?
Well, this is actually quotes from him. I don't think he read all 4 pages.
Oh, okay.
But from what he said, because I didn't get to see the 4 pages, he didn't share the 4 pages with us,
Right.
the taxpayers. He wants an arts committee made up of city staff, the Cultural Arts Commission staff liaison.
What does that mean?
So we have a Cultural Arts Commission. Okay, it's a little board. We have a bunch of boards. Mm-hmm. That's one of them. He now wants, in addition to the Cultural Arts Commission, he wants a arts committee.
An arts committee.
To be made up of city staff, not people from the community, not residents, but city staff and the Cultural Arts Staff Liaison. So each board gets a staff to, help them.
And this would do what?
He didn't say. Maybe it was in the 4-page memo that he didn't read to us.
I'm just confused on what they would do.
He didn't say. I have a feeling they would do something. He wants an arts calendar.
What does that mean?
So I think what that means is he wants, I'm thinking, on the city website, a calendar of all of the arts activities that are going on in Plano.
Oh, that's not so bad.
Yeah, no, I'd say that's not so bad. But a staffer has to do that, has to take the time to put that on the website, gather that information. And maybe that's what the committee's going to do. He wants a communications process to list all the programs. He recommends an arts organization directory.
What does that mean?
I'm thinking it's kind of like the yellow pages for arts. I keep on saying a list of all of the arts organizations, maybe on the website.
It sounds like he wants to make. It sounds like he wants to make the arts that we have available in Plano more known. Because I've said multiple times, I didn't know we had that. I didn't know we had that.
Yeah, that's true. I will say there are websites that currently do this. You've got Eventbrite that's out there that advertises all kinds of events, and you can even, through them, sell your tickets. We've got the Plano Profile. We've got the Community Impact. They list stuff too. So I'm just wondering, if the organizations can't do their own PR and marketing, something is wrong. Speaking of PR, he wants to give the organizations a guide for PR, public relations, and prioritize marketing. I didn't know my tax dollars had to go be their marketing.
So my theory was right.
Mm-hmm. He wants the arts funding overhauled. He didn't say how he wanted it overhauled, but he wants it overhauled. He wants staff to form an arts foundation.
What does that mean?
Well, normally a foundation usually is a charity and it gives out money.
Oh, that kind of foundation. For some reason, I thought about foundation like a building's foundation.
Yeah, no, not that foundation.
I don't know why my brain went there, but...
Yeah, not that foundation. He wants it composed of citizens, stakeholders, and corporate partners to develop new fundraising strategies for the arts organizations. He wants to review or study the venues that they currently have for the arts.
Is this what Dallas does? I don't understand.
Oh, no!
I don't understand.
No! Nobody does this that I know of. Also, he says there is a need for rehearsal space. And he wants to recommend the Richardson Eisman Center as a place where they can do their performances. And he wants...
It's a good space.
...to identify smaller, flexible venues, potentially even on a temporary or adaptive, reusable basis that could relieve the pressure on existing facilities to allow more performances to take place. Yeah. So he summed it up like this. Okay? Form a committee. Prioritize development of a robust arts calendar and communication strategy. Redesign the arts grant program. Conduct a study of venues. I'm sorry. I can't. No.
So he wants to make the arts more known and essentially bigger. It sounds like more like theater. Bigger in Plano.
Oh, well, I think he means all art.
Yeah. And he thought the only way to do that is to get on city council.
I have no idea if that's why he ran for city council.
That's the first thing he brings up.
It is true. That is the first thing. He's thought about this a long time. Well, he is the person who asked for a $5 million bond to build an arts center.
He's clearly very passionate about the arts.
Really?
No. I'm reading it wrong.
I would think that if you're very passionate about the arts, you would put your private money where your mouth is. But I have proof he didn't do it in one area of our local arts.
Oh.
And we'll get to that later.
Yeah, I know what you're referring to.
So, Chu said she would reverse the priorities. And she would start out conducting the venue study first. And she doesn't want to use the Eisman Center in Richardson. No, she wants people to stay here in Plano. She even said we could make the event center larger. Now, I'm sorry. Your choir group, they sang at the Eisman Center. That is a large
theater. It was huge.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know that we don't have that. Well, I don't know what kind of theater we have because I've actually never been to the downtown one that we have, the community theater. I think it may hold 500 seats? I mean, the Eisman held like
it held
1,000.
It held 1,600 about.
Wow.
And the stage was really big. Like, the reason why we needed that, we couldn't do it at Moody in Dallas, is because we had so many singers that when we had the performance at Moody, we couldn't bring everybody. It was a select few.
I see. Okay. So you needed a bigger stage.
We needed a bigger stage.
Okay. Yeah. Plano don't got no room for that. Okay. Of course, they didn't just tear down the school. But you need to pack that. I mean, will we get enough people going to this theater that it's going to hold 1,000 people and have a huge, large stage? Are we going to get that kind of audience that you need to fill the theater? Because if not, it's going to be a waste of money. And you know, whenever government does something, it's always going to bleed money.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the event center, the largest ballroom, it can hold 1,000 people. But that's tables, at tables of 10.
Right.
So it could probably hold more than that if you were just going to line up everybody in rows of chairs. So Horn supported, he said, I'm a supporter of the arts. I don't know, Mr. Horn, I beg to differ. Councilman.
Whenever somebody says, I'm a supporter of the arts, it's like saying, I'm not racist, but.
Interestingly, he said a but right after that statement. I'm a supporter of the arts, but we're stuck between the proverbial rock and hard place with regards to funding. No, we're not. Because we don't have to fund it. That's not our job. So he said he agrees we need a cultural arts department. But he wants to look at corporate sponsorship for any of the activities. He said, when you go to a Broadway play, on the back of the playbill, you see a lot of advertising because they sponsored the event. And this is true, you do. But sir, that is private. That is capitalism. That is a choice.
That is these businesses back to this show.
Yes.
Not the city of New York city.
No.
Back to this show.
As a person who knows the city of New York, I can tell you all of those theaters are private.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So he went on to say, Councilmember Horn, we're going to have to take these steps small and incrementally. Now, Homer had a very interesting idea to add to this, which I found extremely odd. She said, when we build our new police headquarters and training center, we need to design it and create spaces that can be used for both the primary intention, but also that can be open up to the community to use. In other words, the police headquarters, she thinks, could be built in such a way that it could be used as a theater and a police headquarters.
Those two don't mix.
You know. Also, police are there 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not going to work.
No. Especially if there's going to be a jail. You know, where there's cells and they're booking people they arrest. Yeah, that's not gonna work. So, our new councilman, Councilman Care, he wants to let the community. He wants to get the community really excited about the arts and wants to see what other communities have done and use them as a model. All right, not a bad idea. Sorry about that. So finally,
maybe you could accomplish that in the private sector. You don't need to use your power as a city council member to do that.
I agree.
If you're really passionate about this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And now we have finally the words of wisdom. It didn't come from a councilman, though, or a woman.
Uh-huh.
It came from the city manager.
Mm-hmm.
The city manager urged a little caution. I think he urged a lot of caution, but he used the word little. In part because he said, I think we need to be careful recognizing or the precedent that's being set with how we're using city resources to achieve some community goals. Because there's more than just the arts community out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's nonprofits, faith-based, other community groups. That when we start allocating out staff and looking at resources, we need to be careful about the precedent we're setting.
Precedent.
Yes. Precedent we're setting that says we're going to use staff or researchers in a specific way. So maybe we need to step back a little bit and ask what we can do to ensure that we're both being responsive, but also looking at this in a way that's from a precedent perspective. We don't set a precedent that's hard for the organization to set up, I guess. He would recommend that the mayor, the deputy mayor pro tem, and the mayor pro tem appoint a subcommittee of the council members to really work with staff on a couple of these things that Steve wants to get started with. But he said some of the recommendations, like using utility bill inserts and things like that, again, you need to be careful. In other words, the way I would say this is, have you lost your mind? We cannot have staff inserting a arts calendar in with the water bill. Okay, we can't do that. We're sorry. He said it very diplomatically, though. He really did.
Yes, he said it the nice way.
Yes. We didn't see the whole list. So that was one of the things that we did not get to see. Thankfully, Mark brought it up. Mark also said that he's happy to look at the arts grant program and start bringing back some items in the fall to take action on. And I will say another newbie, Councilmember Down.
Hold on, before you continue. Mm-hmm. I think that in translation, he's basically saying, we'll look into it.
Yes.
He's just like, we hear you, we'll look into it.
Downs agrees with Mark and supports a subcommittee, and the mayor and the mayor pro tems are going to get together. Now, the consultant that they hired to look into, do the questionnaire about what the people want with the arts, he actually spoke because he was there to answer questions, and they weren't really asking a lot of questions, but he asked if he could speak. And he said that what we learned from the study is in Plano, there is a $400 million creative industry here. 23,000 full-time jobs in the creative sector. The plan is not just, the arts plan is not just about nonprofits. This is also about the creative businesses in your community who up until now really have not been a part of economic development. So now we're going to give them economic development money to the artists.
Well, you're giving it to everyone else. This is the issue you come to when you start doing this with economic development. Mm-hmm. Everyone's going to want to cut.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, that is what Mark was saying about these lists of and using staff and creating a department, an actual city department for this. Everybody and their brother is going to go, excuse me, hey, what about me? What about my passion? What about, we don't have a sports department. We don't have a pickleball department. I want an ice skating department. I am a singer and I want a opera house. I want the city to pay for an opera house so that we can put on operas and I can sing soprano. Not really, I'm a lousy singer. But you get my point. Everyone now is going to want a piece of the pie. They're going to be saying, what about me? Oh, what fun. What fun. It's the thing that gets me is that, as I said, Mr. Lavine and all the council people who sit on council currently don't put their money where their mouth is.
As far as we're aware.
Because Ruth and I, we went to see the musical Camelot at our local Plano Community Theater Group, the North Texas Performing Arts group that's here right in Plano. They are actually right inside the Willow Bend Mall. I have no idea where they're going to go when that's torn down, but they're here and they put on the musical Camelot. And I noticed in their playbill, they list sponsors in their playbill of all the companies that gave them money. And HEB gave them money, an accountant gave them some in-kind support. Maybe he does his accounting services. You've got the Trans-American Foundation, Dairy Farmers of America. They gave them money. Farmers Insurance, Community Impact gave them an in-kind support. So that means that instead of giving them cash, they probably gave them free advertising in the Community Impact. Dallas Morning News, also the same thing. Plano Local Profile, Plano Magazine, Plano Star Courier, Shops at Willow Bend. And the bottom here, it says, funded in part by City of Plano and City of Frisco Arts Foundation. You know who I didn't see here under the friends and family sponsors? I didn't see any of our council members' names.
Well, they contributed with the city's money.
That ain't the same.
I know. You heard the sarcasm in my voice.
I know. Yeah, not good enough. If you are a lover of the arts and if you want to support the arts, Mr. Lavine, Mr. Lavine, and Councilman Horn and the rest of you, then you would have donated some of your own money to this organization or your time. Former Councilman Shelby Williams was actually in the play. He actually did online marketing for them and was there basically like their producer for them. So I'm sorry, but if you're a lover of the arts, you need to do more than just don't donate tax dollars.
Or at least attend. We didn't see any of them.
Do you even go? Have you gone? Have you gone to see Camelot?
Or any of their shows? Frozen was just next door.
Yeah. And I must say, who knew former Councilman Shelby Williams could sing?
Yeah, he did great.
He played Lancelot, and his daughter played his squire. Very, very cute little girl. And Ruth and I, Ruth, she is a musical theater lover.
Yeah.
So, Ruth, why don't you give the folks a review of the musical?
Well, okay, so I'd never seen... So, yes, I really, really love musical theater and musicals in general. I primarily sing musical theater. I never saw this particular musical, though, so I didn't really go in with any expectation. But it was really good. It was really funny. I might be just hormonal, but I teared up at a lot of parts. And the cast were phenomenal singers and actors. Like, they really sold the parts. If I wanted to be nitpicky, I could be nitpicky on some of the vocals, but I'm not going to do that. This was a volunteer thing. They're doing it as a passion. I'm not going to do that.
I will say one of the standout performers was the guy who played...
Yes. Mordred. When I heard him, when he first came out, he didn't even sing yet. When he first came out, I was like, oh, this guy's an actor.
Yes. And he sang very well.
Oh, yeah. He is going to be majoring in theater, yes. No doubt.
So his name is Jackson Vieira, I think it's pronounced. And he is a senior at Booker T. Washington High School for the Performing and Visual Arts, and majoring in both theater and music conservatories. So he is definitely going to be known. He is very good.
Yeah, and according to his biography, he has quite the range. Mm-hmm. The things he's played, you can't typecast him. He's got a range. He loves to play villains, apparently, but he's also played the hero.
He's played Elmo, too.
He's played Mufasa, Bill Sikes and Oliver, Hook and Peter Pan. Like I said, he loves the villains, apparently. Joseph and Pharaoh in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Sheldon Plankton in SpongeBob, the musical.
Yes, he did very well. It was very, very captivating. Now, I will say, though, that there was one performer that stole the show, and it was the dog. Oh. It was the little dog. He played a part too. This was apparently his second performance. He played Toto in The Wizard of Oz once before, and he even got a bio in the playbook. So,
yep, he's got his own little spot.
With his little picture on it, his little headshot. So We recommend it. The theater is very nice. So they have 4 or 5 theaters in this area of the mall. And so each theater is small.
Yeah.
It's not that big.
It's one of the smallest theaters I've been in. Mm-hmm. It's very small. One thing I will say, because it was kind of distracting for me, is because the space is so small in that mall and you have the theaters so close together, I could hear the crowd from the Frozen the theater playing Frozen right across from us. I could hear them constantly.
Yes. We heard them clapping.
Sometimes I heard them singing.
Yeah.
Very faintly. Like, it was mainly the crowd that was distracting.
Yes. So, I don't know what's going to happen to this theater area, because they also do workshops and they have classes. They have a whole academy. They have summer camp programs where they're teaching kids about acting and singing and all kinds of theater stuff. But I don't know what's going to happen to them with the development. They were supposed to go over next to where Macy's was, or they were supposed to go next to Macy's, according to the developer, but now Macy's is not going to be there. The building's going to be torn down, and I think either apartments or some kind of multifamily is going there. So I don't know what's going to happen to this space. What I would recommend is wherever the developer puts them, instead of having 4 or 5 or however many area theaters they have 2 large theaters. It is distracting when you have 2 performances going on at the same time, and it's kind of crowded though in that little hallway. So maybe instead of doing that, make it have maybe 2 large theaters or 1 big theater, 1 little theater, and then have classrooms and stuff for your school, if that's part of the developer's plans for you to go somewhere else. So if you want to see Shelby and his daughter Kate, their last performance will be July 3rd at 7:15 p.m. The show continues its run from July 2nd to the 6th, and the actors rotate. There's actually 3 Lancelots and 2 Guineveres, so they rotate performances. So the next and last time to see former Councilman Williams will be July the 3rd. And you can get your tickets at ntpa.org/tickets.
Yeah, go support them. Like, if you like musicals, if you like going to theater, if you remember the musical Camelot and you really enjoyed the movie, go see it. You're going to have a blast. It was a really fun time.
And the tickets are not expensive. Tickets are not expensive. It was only $15, and we sat in the orchestra. So, it's worth the price. So, lastly, I am sorry to report that the 2 bills we were hoping the governor would veto, SB 15 and SB 840, were signed by the governor. So SB 15 is the max lot size of 3,000 square feet for houses, and SB 840 is the bill that lets commercial property be converted to multifamily residential without going through planning and zoning. So our lovely PNC board, they can pack up, because they won't be doing much from now on. But cheer up, folks, because THC is still legal, because the governor vetoed the ban. And he called a special session to regulate it. On to our very important dog. Gemma is a friendly dog who is about 3 years of age. She is very sweet and so playful too. Gemma will make a great companion for you. She was never claimed by her owner and wants a new home. Gemma is an affectionate dog too. She is at the Plano Animal Shelter. So if you're interested in looking up Gemma, please go to our website, Plano's Political Pit Bull.
Affectionate pit bulls are the best pit bulls.
PlanosPoliticalPitbull.com is our website to go to and click on Pit Bulls Up for Adoption.
Please, we'd like to switch pit bulls.
Yes,
please.
We'd like to highlight a new pit bull. Well, that is all for today. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. This is Esther.
And this is Ruth.
For Plano's Political Pit Bulls, signing off.